The 80s is a different time, man. I mean, I wasn't born at that time, but I just had to go back to the things that happened in the 80s video game world anyway. So after seeing this comment, I thought about making this video specifically, and to be honest with you, I went back to some video games in the 80s that are outside of Street Fighter because I wanted to learn about how they developed this video game, based on frame rate, based on animation, based on the environment, just how they did the games very well. Now, there were a lot of games in the 80s that were more memorable and some that were forgettable, and I'm not expecting huge things from it because, again, not a lot of things were happening in the 80s. I mean, it was starting to develop time to time. So what better way is to get a trip down memory lane to the first ever Street Fighter. And to tell you the truth, before then there were some fighting games that I really liked, and this game specifically was one of them. I can't really remember the name, but I'm gonna have to put it in the video so then you understand where I'm coming from. Street Fighter 1 was by far the most dreadful and the bad one of all the Street Fighter games I've played, but you listen, it's only the first game, so I can't go so hard. Also, it feels delayed at times as well, because whenever you look at fighting games such as this, I guarantee you it's not as bad as this one. And for sure, I honestly think that the movement for every character for this, well, although I can't really play every character because I can only play 2 to be precise, which is another thing. Like, sometimes it feels delayed when I'm trying to execute the buttons pretty well, but my fingers end up hurting. At the same time, the gameplay on it is so damn hard to deal with, and you can see why people are debating which is more easier, the games that we're playing right now or the games that were way back in the 80s, 90s or 2000s, because I feel like they're making the difference between the early games are really so damn hard to contribute and also so damn hard to execute, because the move list on each fighting games or fighting characters is actually very hard. So with the movement is arse. The movement is so damn arse in Street Fighter 1 that I could not bear to get through this with the whole entire stage. So with that being said, I also don't like the theme tunes to this either. The theme tunes to each of these are the worst ones by far. Sagat was one of the cheap bosses ever, and honestly, if you do not believe me, please play him. The sound he makes, I really hate it when he does this shit. He honestly makes this annoying ass sound where he just looks like he sounds like he's driving a car or the vehicle himself. Like, if you don't believe me, just look at Max's video, then you'll understand why I was making that assumption, honestly.
The sound of the music.
I always find the lost scenes intentionally funny because the lost scene looks like they're all a bunch of Play-Dohs being made.
What is this horrible theme?
The artwork, firstly, is so ahead of its time that I generally love the look of it. Like, generally, this is something that I actually really enjoyed looking at, seeing the behind the scenes of each character's designs, the character's artwork, everything like that was great. And the arcade and the posters for Street Fighter was actually pretty good. But if you get fed up of the original Street Fighter 1, don't worry, there was a fan-made one, and it looks pretty good in my opinion. This is where all prayers are being answered, because this was the first fan art that I've seen of this game. A fan game that had so many selections, a fan game that had a character selection, so I don't have to just play Ryu and Ken anymore. I could just play all the 12 characters that were there. Though I don't know what the last 2 question marks are, to be honest with you. But looking through this actually looks pretty decent. It's a lot faster, a lot smoother, and a bit composed as well, because all these combos you can make are actually very fun to do. Now, granted, I do like the look of this a lot, and I can play different environments this time. I don't have to just have that one fighter as well. Questionable damage there, but that's okay, because at the same time, this is a lot more fun. And to be honest, the cool thing about it is that they were able to add a bit more frame rates on the special moves, whether it was also the fireballs that Ken has. It's not the same fireball, it's a different fireball, and Lee's fast move as well, that was also great too, and his fireball as well was also nice as well. So at the end of the day, I mean, I can find out who the most annoying character is, and it is Lee for sure, and Sagat as well, let's be real, because Sagat's legs are just so limb and so long that it's very hard to get away from sometimes. Do you know, going back to this, I always wish that there were a couple of characters that I think were pretty decent should come back to Street Fighter later on in the years. Obviously Street Fighter 6 is released already, but I also think that these should be part of the return, like Eagle and Geki and Joe. I mean, Birdie has come back several times, but I'd love to see him one day. So overall, I think even though the game came out in '87, I still thought the game was arse and the bad one by far. But hey, good things are coming on the way, so I'm gonna review that very soon. And yeah, let me know how you feel about Street Fighter 1. Was it difficult, hard? Was it terrible? Yeah, let me know. Until next time, peace.